Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Stuti Life Science. So in my previous video I had discussed about some basic aspects of cell signaling. Thus in this video I am going to discuss about GPCR, G protein coupled receptors. As you all know, cell signaling is a very important part that comes under your Unit 4 in the CSIR syllabus. Thus, without further delay, let's start with the video. Let's roll in. So firstly, you need to know what are GPCRs. GPCRs are the largest class of cell surface receptors, right? So, it is a kind of cell surface receptor and the structure is a serpentine receptor. It is called a serpentine receptor because of its structure, as it passes the membrane 7 times. It crosses the lipid bilayer about 7 times. So, let's look at the structure. So, this is the cell membrane. This is the extracellular domain of the receptor. Now in this way, the membrane crosses the receptor about 7 times. I have drawn 7. 5, 6 and 7. So these 7 are 7 transmembrane alpha helices, right? So from the term we can understand it is a G protein coupled receptor. Thus the receptor is coupled to something called G protein. So let's see what are basically G proteins, right? So we have a G protein coupled to the GPCR C terminal. This is the N terminal. This is the C terminal. Let's show by a different color. Now, this is basically the structure of GPCR and G protein. Alpha, beta, gamma. This is the G protein. Now this G protein has 3 subunits. Alpha subunit, beta subunit, gamma subunit. Now there is no signal and the receptor is in inactive state or unstimulated state. Now we have the signal. What happens? See the changes. What happens? Now we have a signal. Suppose this is the signal. It has gone. Now the receptor is active, right? What happens now? Here, the changes, try to see. The structure is of course the same. Cell, right? Now we have the signal bound to it, right? So here the G protein now, this alpha subunit now gets separate from the beta gamma subunit. Okay. Now, what is the change over here? This G protein, alpha, beta, gamma subunits were together when it was in unstimulated state. That means it was in heterotrimeric form. Hetero means different, trimeric means 3. So we have alpha subunit, beta subunit and gamma subunit. They 3 are different, thus we call it heterotrimeric form, right? So in this state, at this state, when it was unstimulated state, rather the receptor was unstimulated, there was no signal. At that situation, this alpha subunit was bound to GDP. GDP. Inactive state, G protein coupled to GDP. Rather the alpha subunit is coupled to GDP and the alpha, beta, gamma are together. Unstimulated state. Now what happens? Here the alpha subunit gets bind to GTP. Thus, I hope you can see the board from there, right? What happens? This GDP moves out and the GTP comes in its place. So here this activity is done by this activity is done by the activated receptor, stimulated receptor. What is this activity? GDP moving out and GTP coming in its place. This activity is called GEF. GEF means a guanine nucleotide exchange factor. This activity removes GDP and gives GTP in its place, right? So here the G protein is active now. Okay, so this activated receptor has this GEF activity, due to which the GDP moves out and GTP comes in its place and the receptor is active. G protein is active, alpha subunit bound to GTP, the beta gamma subunits are separated. Now the alpha subunit will relay the signal. Okay, right. So let's clear this thing, because I now want to focus on this activated G protein. G protein has got activated. Right. Now this G protein alpha subunit is bound to GTP. Right. Now it will activate another protein. We call it an effector protein. So the effector protein that we will be talking about over here is adenylyl cyclase. Okay, so we will see this activated G protein will lead to the activation of adenylyl cyclase. So this is the adenylyl cyclase. Cyclase. So this adenylyl cyclase does some function. What it does? It basically forms cyclic AMP from ATP. Okay, so this ATP forms cyclic AMP. Now we have this cyclic AMP. Okay, so the signal that has bound to this GPCR lead to the activation of GPCR. That led to the activation of the G protein. G protein bound to alpha subunit. That led to the activation of the effector protein adenylyl cyclase. Now this adenylyl cyclase forms cyclic AMP from ATP. Okay. So now this cyclic AMP is called the second messenger. Why is it called the second messenger? Because it is a small molecule. It can relay the signal and it can diffuse into the cytosol. So the signal molecule is called the primary messenger, and this cyclic AMP is the secondary messenger. Now this cyclic AMP will further relay the signal. What will it do? The next question that comes, what will it do? Cyclic AMP has been formed. It needs to do some function. Okay, so what it does basically, we have a protein over here, that is protein kinase A. Okay, let's look at the structure of protein kinase A. The cyclic AMP will function on this protein, and let's see how does it function. Okay, so let's see. So if I look into the structure of this protein kinase A, we can see that this protein has 4 subunits. So these are the regulatory subunit and these are the catalytic subunits. Okay, just this is the structure of protein kinase A. or pKa in the inactive state. Okay, now we have the cyclic AMP that will act on protein kinase A. Let's see how it functions. So, this cyclic AMP I am representing by red color will come and bind to the regulatory subunit. Okay, now what will happen? These are the regulatory subunits to which this cyclic AMP will come and bind, and it will lead to some changes. Okay, what changes will it take? What changes will we get to see over here? The changes that we will see is these regulatory subunits are bound to cyclic AMP. I was showing by black color, right? I was showing by black color. I forgot and just changed the color. Okay, for your understanding, I am showing by black color only. Okay. So these are the regulatory subunits, right? And these are the catalytic subunits. Now what happens? These catalytic subunits are active. That I have shown by this lines. Hope you can see. These are the catalytic subunits. Now the cyclic AMP had already diffused into the cell cytosol. I said it can diffuse freely. Thus this happens in the cytosol. Now what happens? This catalytic subunit can move inside the nucleus. Okay, inside the cell we have the nucleus. There we have a gene which is called inside the nucleus. That gene is called cyclic AMP responsive gene, right? So the cyclic AMP responsive gene has an element called cyclic AMP responsive element. We call it CRE. So for the activation of the transcription of this CRE gene, this CRE element or the gene, cyclic AMP responsive gene, we need an activator and a co-activator. Okay, so this activator that functions over here is CREBP and the co-activator is CBP. Now what happens? This CREBP cannot bind to CRE in the normal state. Now this catalytic subunits will come. Protein kinase A functions in phosphorylation. What it will do? It will phosphorylate this CREBP on serine residues. Now this phosphorylated CREBP can now bind to CRE. Now this CREBP phosphorylated binds to CRE. CBP also binds and transcription will turn on. Okay. And this will lead to the activation of many downstream genes, expression of many downstream proteins, transcription will be turned on, right? So in this way we can see how the signaling molecule binding to GPCR can lead to the activation of many cyclic AMP responsive genes, right, through the action of cyclic AMP, adenylyl cyclase, which can form cyclic AMP from ATP. From ATP to cyclic AMP formation, cyclic AMP is the second messenger which can diffuse into the cytosol of the cell, and now the cyclic AMP moving into the cytosol acts on protein kinase A. It separates the regulatory subunits from the catalytic subunits. Now these catalytic subunits can function now. They can move inside the nucleus and they can phosphorylate CREBP. CREBP phosphorylated can bind to CRE along with CBP. CBP is the co-activator of transcription. In this way transcription of target genes gets turned on, right? So in this video we have learned the basic of GPCR till cyclic AMP. I think in the next video we will be able to complete about the PLC beta signaling which we are left with in GPCR. After that I will see if any important topics, other important topics I can make video on. You can also give request in the comment section. Of course, you can request for any unit you feel like, any topic you feel like to get video on. You can ask me, I can try to make video on that topic. Okay, so I am stopping the video now only, here only. So I will be back soon with the next video. Till then, take care, stay safe, bye bye.